Hello and welcome to another video. My name is Em and today we're going to be filling a sketch page with just a bunch of ridiculous guys, and it's going to get kind of weirder as it goes on, unfortunately and fortunately. And I'm just going to be using a bunch of different color pencils and seeing what I can come up with to hopefully make a painting for my sister for her birthday. So something I struggle with a lot, especially when I do characters and figure poses like I'll be trying to do today in this sketch page, is how to make them not look so stiff. I think it's one of my weakest points as an artist, and I think that it's preventing me from growing more because I avoid doing full figure drawings a lot of the time. Well, that's all going to change because I'm going to start making more of an effort to improve, starting with this class I found on today's sponsor, Craftsy. The class is called Expressive Gesture and Poses for Characters, taught by Gerardo Escamilla, and it's exactly what I needed. Gerardo's class helped me to figure out the steps to go through to make poses easier and less intimidating. He explains how to use the line of action and work up to a finished, expressive character by breaking down your design into shapes and then changing those shapes so that you can use your own style while keeping everything in proportion. After this practice, I felt really ready to start doing some of my own little characters now, and it was also just a really fun warm-up session in general. Craftsy is your online resource for all things creative, and they're always adding new classes to keep you inspired. They offer more than 2,000 classes in over 20 popular categories like crochet, sewing, painting, drawing, cooking, journaling, photography, and more. And as a member of Craftsy, you'll have access to live streaming tutorials where instructors share tips and answer questions in real time. And you can also share ideas and connect with other makers via discussion boards within the different classes. I can't wait to take this beading class with my sister because we love making bracelets together. It's like our shared hobby that we do. I mean, who doesn't? It's a fun activity while we watch scary summer movies. And I'm going to absolutely eat this class up, okay? It's called Bead Stitching Right Angle Weave by Barb Switzer. Oh, we're going to have so much fun. I can't wait. The first 1,000 of you to click the link in the video description will get a full year of premium membership to Craftsy for only $1.49, valid for new members only. Thank you, Craftsy, for sponsoring this video. So back to it. So now I'm starting out by just sketching this tiger. I just really wanted to try to make a tiger sketch. I've actually never drawn one before, so it was actually kind of hard to get going with it. I had to do a little practice on a different page, and finally I kind of got something I liked. I really liked the reference photo that I sort of used inspiration from and got the pose from, and once I figured it out, I really like how it turned out actually. And I'm using for this one Polychromos fuchsia color pencil, and I know I made a video before saying I kind of was hating on them. I don't hate them. I just find that they kind of layer more like, people say they layer, sort of think about them like watercolor. I know that's kind of like weird to imagine, but and then Holbein is kind of like gouache. I work well with the Holbein ones, coloring wise, but for sketching, the Holbein ones are really hard to erase, the darker colors, and I find that these Polychromos ones are just really, really nice for sketching, and they have really good sketching colors too. So they, like, as you layer them, you can go from really light to dark and then get really nice lines out of it, I find. So that's something to think about for sure. I definitely have been using them a lot for sketching, and I really like it. So call me, I'm not a hater anymore of them. I like them now. Sorry. I didn't actually hate them ever. I just always went to Holbein instead. But yeah, as an example of what I'm talking about, like you can see the lines. Once I press a little harder for the outline of the tiger, it's so much darker than what I did the stripes with or whatever. You can get like a big range in that way with them. So that's great. Then I decided to do, oh, by the way, I should tell you that this page gets really unhinged as I go. I don't know what was happening this day. I started out fine, and then I was like, oh, actually, I just drew some really weird stuff, okay? So here's this angry frog anyways, and I wanted to do a green color. This color is a Holbein pencil because I didn't have the green that I wanted in Polychromos. It truly doesn't matter, but you'll actually see the difference because I do have to I erase it a bunch of times, and you can see everywhere. But again, this is just like a for fun sketch page. Sometimes you just got to loosen up and have fun and draw some guys. And kind of the goal of this sketch page is that I wanted to make a small painting for my sister for her birthday that was coming up. So I wanted to get some ideas, and I wanted to make something weird for her birthday, essentially. So we needed to get there somehow. So that's this experience for you. That's what that feels like for me. That's what goes on in my head. So that was the frog. Then I decided to draw a little earthworm because I really like them, and I also really like using this pink. But it was kind of a bit too light for the page, but I wanted it to look nice with the other colors as well. So this is what I ended up choosing. Well, I don't really like seeing worms that much in real life, but I do appreciate and I know they have lots of value to nature and stuff, but they are kind of gross. I put some dirt around where his mouth is and a little bite mark coming out of the dirt, and I thought that was funny. And that's an idea I might actually have to explore more because I did really like that quick little sketch, or just the idea of it. And I have these small square canvases, and that's what I'm going to paint the small painting on. And you'll see by the end of this video, like which sketch I pick and my little painting. And yeah, so I like the idea of these tiny little canvases because it's so low pressure. And that really appeals to me. Also, I love this baby fly. This was a tough one too, because I've started to be like, okay, I like this. And I like bugs. I at least really like drawing them. And I like especially how they have really large eyeballs. That's funny to me. And I gave him a little tuft of hair on top of his head. Well, not all bugs have really big eyeballs. Some of them have very many eyeballs and they're very tiny. So that's something interesting about bugs. Jesus Christ. So this is like for sure my favorite one that I'm about to do right here. Oh, yeah, I was going to tell you about the canvases. So I have a couple of them, and one of them I already used to make her present, obviously. But I'm like, maybe I could make some more. I kind of really want to make the little fly into one, and I think I have maybe 2 or 3 left. So, and I can always get more if it works out. So I'm thinking about maybe making like a little series of mini ones or something with funny little guys on them. And something I was like, I'm doing it with oil paint, of course, because that's my most favorite thing to use next to colored pencils, I think. And I just really liked doing this and making this for my sister. Well, because 1, I love my sister, but 2, like the whole reason why I wanted to get into doing the oil painting and kind of exploring that and how I went down that path was that I wanted to make bigger, better illustrations, I guess, or like my ideas on canvas and make them more permanent. I didn't want to keep using alcohol markers and color pencils. I love them, but they're hard to scan, and it's hard to keep those things forever when they're on paper, you know? I wanted to make them like bigger and more extravagant, and I thought that if I learn how to use oil paint by doing a lot of studies, and then once I figure it out, I can then make my own stuff with my own paintings. And so that's something that I've been like that's like the whole point. So I'm so excited that I finally made my first very own illustration in the painting. Not that I don't love doing the studies, because that's a whole other thing. It's like figuring out a puzzle. It's really, really fun. But I also just love making my own paintings. You don't have to look at a study. You don't have to really like stress too much about it. You can just go from your own brain. And if you're in the right zone, right mind zone to do something like that, then it's really fun. And this was so fun. I loved it. And again, I loved how it was such a tiny little canvas. It was just like perfect. And guess what? Spoiler alert, my sister loves it. Sorry to spoil that. So that was my little jellyfish squid kind of guy. I am obsessed with that guy. I really, really like it. Favorite one out of the page. I really like the tiger too. I like them all in their own way, but the expression of the jellyfish guy and the 2 different sized eyes and the looking in different directions, that's all of my favorite stuff in a character, okay? So that was the one I was like, okay, I'm pretty sure we're going to pick this one. My sister also really likes like funny cat kind of drawings that I've done before. So I thought, like, let's try making one of these. And I tried again using the line of action thing. I did a little pre-sketch before and it turned out way better than this one. So that kind of sucks. But I do like how the tail is. And again, I like the sort of looking into nowhere, staring into space look. I did feel that he needed a small earring just to give the vibe, you know, that he's dancing or whatever he's doing. And then I did this one in a purplish, well, not purplish, a purple color, because I felt that that would fit good. Usually when I get to the end of the page, I'm like struggling to get the right colors because I sort of run out, and you want to have it to be cohesive. You don't want two pinkish things near each other, or, you know, you kind of want to space it out. So I think I did pretty good with that for this time, thank goodness. But again, this was like a super just trying to come up with ideas of characters more than it is technically trying to get everything perfect. You know, I was just trying to have some fun with making these little guys and showing you sort of the kind of little things I think up in my tiny little smooth brain. Okay? I put some glasses on this snail, and I also gave him arms and legs, and I made him be standing. I don't know why. I just thought it'd be funny if his shell was kind of like smaller and sort of like a little backpack or something. And then he walks around like that. And he has cool glasses. And then those little things that come out of their mouth or whatever that is, like they have like antennas on their heads, and then they have antennas, things that come out of their mouth or where their mouth normally is. That's like a mustache to me. That's what I was thinking. Okay, I'm going to be straight up honest. I actually hate the last two. And I don't know what I was thinking. I don't know what I was thinking. So I'm just going to be honest with you there. But stick with me. I drew this really dumb bird. It doesn't even make sense. I don't know why its eyes are bulging out of its head like that. But it's green, and I think the green works well there. So the only thing I like about it is just the color. And I barely like that. But maybe somebody will like it. So it's just a really round bird with super weird eyes. And then I drew this apple, which I most definitely hate the most, even more than the bird, because it's the dumbest apple ever. And it has just some eyes that I took about 1 second of effort to make. I think at first I was like, I'm just going to make this apple and then not put a face on it. And then I thought, well, that's dumb. I can't not put a face on it. There's a face on everything else. And then I hated it the second I did that. So there we go. So here is my small canvas with my little jellyfish guy. Of course, that's the one I have to pick because it was my favorite. And I'm just setting out some of my oil paints. I know I didn't need too much, so I just put like as small as I could, really, of the colors that I wanted. And I was going to do a limited sort of color palette. The thing I messed up with on the painting, and I don't know why I did this, but I totally forgot to spray fixative on the pencil on the canvas, so it kind of moved around underneath a little bit, and so it made me have to do sort of a second layer on top. But it really wasn't that big of a deal, but it would have been way easier, and I wouldn't have gotten as much of a muddy sort of look on the first go. 'Cause once I started putting the paint down, I was like, ooh, yeah, I forgot to do that. Oops. But yeah, whatever. So don't forget that if you're thinking about it. And I just wanted to sort of emulate the color that I sketched this little guy in, which was the nice like orangey red color. So that's what I sort of used, with a little bit of pink here and there and a lighter orangey. And I just wanted to get some nice like soft sort of texture, and I knew I wanted him to be holding these little dots of that they're going to be glowing. And I used my smallest brushes that I had, and I did all of it a la prima, like I did it all in one sitting, you know? It didn't take too long. I think it only took about 2 hours, but you know, of course with oil paint, you have to wait for everything to dry. So even if it doesn't take that long to make, it sure does take a long time for you to call it done, really, technically, for it to be dry. That's the only thing that sucks about oil painting, I find. So then I did his little eyes, and I had so much fun doing this. Just like watching it back is just making me happy. I put the little eyes in, and I kind of just moved around the colors until it looked good. I like the way his head is, the way that the ruffles are. I like that part. And it was a really good practice all in all. And he's going to be holding some, it'll come out clearer when I do the background, but he's going to be holding some little glowing things. And I was like, I don't do blue often, but I thought it would be kind of cool if I made it. I know my sister likes blue, so I wanted to do the background to be very underwater, dark blue. And I thought that would look so cool to have him holding some glowing stuff in there and would be really fun. Like blending is the funnest part about oil painting. The only thing I have never done is to go around the edges like that. So I put it on this paper towel because I knew I was going to have to sort of do the edges. I didn't want to leave them blank, certainly, especially on a small canvas when it's almost a cube. Like that's how tiny this canvas is. I think it's like 4x4. And so, yeah, so of course, sort of the edges become part of the painting as well. I mean, normally they kind of do anyways, but I just think it's imperative when you have a small little brick like this, because it just makes all the difference to paint the edges and add that as part of the painting too, for me at least. So I had to paint over my little dots of yellow there, which I think even made it better, and put a really light color and kind of let it sit there for a bit. And then I put into a little bit more yellow, layered it up a little more yellow, and then a dot of white in the center of that to make those glowing guys, that little glowing effect. And I think it worked pretty well. I really love how that part turned out. So when you do a bit of a bigger painting, it's easier to leave some stuff so that you can kind of let it, I don't know, like sometimes I find this helps if you just let some stuff set for a second and then come back to it rather than keep working on certain areas of the painting. But there's not that many areas to do on this because it's like 4 inches tall. So I kind of had a hard time moving the paint around a little bit. I also like thickened it up a lot, but so with the legs, it was a little tricky. I had to, they were just a little small, you know, it was a bit hard, but I got there. I just had to be very careful with them. And I love this look of, I just started to like swipe around with a little bit of a lighter color. And I really like how that turned out too. I didn't want it to just be plain and blended. I kind of wanted to have some more, I guess, like textured look. And then I'm just blending the edges and adding a little bit more light coming from the glowing things that he's holding so that there's light reflecting off. And I just had to make the mouth a little bit more prominent too. Again, it was so tiny and I was trying really hard, and this brush actually is great for that. It worked out really, really well. And I don't use it too often because for bigger paintings, I like to use bigger brushes. Obviously, I try not to go too small. So I was happy to use something I had, you know? So yeah, this is where the paper towel comes in really well too, because I didn't want to get it all over the place and get everything messy. So I used it on top there, and I just started doing the same kind of swiping motions on the edges, blending out where the little legs are, and then just let it dry. And I was done. And I had paint all over my hands, so I had to wash them. So this is, I try to pick it up. This is the finished little guy. And thankfully I was able to work my ideas out on that sketch page. And I also had a lot of fun making it. So that was great. And I really hope you like my little painting. And I hope you had fun watching my sketch page. This is the end results of some guys. And I guess that's like a really good way if you want to try to come up with new characters, just start sketching them, man. And it doesn't have to look good. And sometimes you're going to come up with a shitty little bird and an apple. That's okay too. Bye.